everyone, welcome to the court. I am its Jester, and I think we were about to start off on chapter 3. You're safe now. She's not safe. The ghost is still gonna come for her. Zach's turn. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint, but light and warm. A reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commanding gaze, Ma's tender smiles, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning, and the distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room, Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I too, eventually. But we ain't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves and not burn our hands or reach in the cupboards without having to be lifted.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is. The walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa...
No, please wait.
Oh no. No, Zach's crying. No. I never want to see him sad.
I'll be good. I'll sleep on time.
Oh no.
Don't go.
I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and deafening roar of gunshots nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There is only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the Red Sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. Oh no. I know that in the last chapter, Zach mentioned that he and his sister lived with their grandparents. Now we know why. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me, and my blanket is a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived yet, and...
Way too early for this thing, man.
Oh, no. And too long. Too long since I've last woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about it. Egad, whatever comes first. Yet, vivid or not, what little I remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and... There's a twinkle in Ma's eyes. She looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and homey fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe a small bead of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer the moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but his pat on my back when I come in within his arm's reach is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put it up for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me out of the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it. But I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps me back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray, the walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock is ticking opposite my bed is unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the chance.
You're no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart.
Zach, you need to go to therapy. You need to talk to someone about these nightmares. You're reliving past trauma in a way that's not helpful to your current state of happiness. You need closure.
Calm down. Breathe.
Zach is already going through it because of past trauma over the death of his parents, and now he's gonna have a ghost after him too, and that's so unfair. Can we give this man a break? The pressure of my own fingers against my temple is a welcome cessation over the anxiety gripping me. It never really did anything to stave off the headache sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I am safe, away from the place I once called home, for Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghosts threatening to hang around. Oh, there are gonna be more ghosts hanging around! Why anyone thinks this is a good idea to knock at someone's door this late confuses me. Nana would chase them away with a broom if she was here. But no matter, it's a welcome break from the thoughts But no matter, it's a welcome break from the thoughts about to take a morbid turn if left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to crash. Yeah, that's funny. Looking for a place to crash. Zachary is too nice to even refer to his friend as a freeloader in his internal monologue. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering with the courtesy when he never did so before. Oh my god, if this is the ghost at the door. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. It's gonna be the ghost, isn't it? Except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and he started wearing a ponytail, of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon, no matter how funny that looks in my head. I waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella.
Oh, cool, it's Isabella. Oh, good, she's still alive. Last we saw her, she was hiding from a ghost under a desk. There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is in a pale state, shoulders tense, breathing heavily, with an uncontrollable shaking in her hands as she's trying to hold back. Hide, if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zach. Sorry, I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you are the closest to my office, and...
Oh, God, is the ghost following her? Barricade the door. Try boiling water and doing a prayer over it. Like, okay, here's how we make holy water, okay? We take some water, and we boil the hell out of it. Ba-dum-ts! This is the closest thing we can do, and it's better than my grandmother's method of just doing a little prayer over vegetable oil. My grandma used to insist vegetable oil was holy water, and she rubbed it all over the house to, like, try and bless it because she thought my mom's books brought the devil in because my mom was reading horror novels. She also put it on my face while I was asleep, so that was a thing. Anyway, water. Boil it. Make it holy. Put it in a water gun and just... Or do it in one of those, like, little, like, when you would put the bucket of water over the door and you would rig it so that when you open the door, the water would fall on whoever opened the door. Do that with boiling water for the ghost. I figured out how to protect you. Follow my plans. Follow my plans.
No. It's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought...
Bella, you need to sleep over, okay? Buddy system from now on. Never by yourself when there's a ghost on the loose.
I'm sorry, I just thought... I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead her only response is a downward shift of her gaze, back to her still trembling hands as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. Explain more! Warn him about the ghost! Someone needs to warn him about the ghost! A minuscule gesture. Easy to miss if one's not paying enough attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression on the mirror, done the same thing too many times when the night terrors are inevitable, it is not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you not. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it.
It's Isabella's turn to freeload.
I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Isn't he a detective?
Besides, you already know you can count on me whenever.
Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over to the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only the clinking of plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from the dangerous, dangerous thoughts. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Yeah, of course it isn't. Look at how high that relationship meter is. It's great. You guys get along great. Whatever her reasons for showing up at such an hour, it doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I just turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet, in this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway holding her arms close to herself, it's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything?
Yeah, like, you gotta stay hydrated. You never know what's gonna happen when you're on the run from a ghost, okay? You gotta stay hydrated, you gotta carbo load, you gotta be ready to put in that cardio and run as fast as you've ever run in your life.
I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
It's better than the ramen noodle diet she's been on.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests?
Isabella, carbo load. Gonna be running from the ghost. Gotta be ready for cardio.
That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. Feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such.
If this is Zach's idea of messy, I wonder what he would think of my room. Like, this is a very nice, organized room right now.
Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
There are so many water bottles all over my room. I really should buy a reusable one. I gotta get one. With a cool pattern on it, too. That'd be nice. And a fancy straw that has a swirl in it.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark to provoke a laugh or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and a silence that stretches out until we are both left hanging but feeling disconnected. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. The ghost should start a radio station! Oh my god, she could, title it Dead Air? It would be so funny. She could just spend the entire time in between songs making ghost puns, and she could have, all of her songs be themed around, ghosts and everything. She could play Necromancy Dancing, all that stuff. We have options. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my scheduled shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world.
It would be so nice.
The world itself moves for you, huh?
All the video games you could want. She's curled up on the side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray to carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand in a halting gesture.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
The tremor in her hands, though lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she's quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions. Worrying. I get that Isabella's really scared and probably doesn't want to seem crazy, but if I saw a ghost, I would immediately be calling up all my friends being like, guys, ghost, believe me, come on, game plan, let's go. This sudden loss for words and this bout of quiet is not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I casually take a seat is a welcome break. Although the company's familiar, this has gotten way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass of its remaining contents. One would think that would be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it on her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah.
Tell him. Tell your friend the truth.
Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened.
Tell him what happened.
To Rose.
Oh, thank God. Not about Rose. I really am sad about Rose. Just thank God she's telling him.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
She got killed by a serial killer ghost.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory from the night before. The bright red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stop bath, the television's barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I didn't think its effects will strike someone this close to me.
Oh. Damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest.
Isabella, ask if you can move in with him for a few weeks. Stay with him. He'll protect you from the ghost. Call in the priest again!
Even the most hardworking people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
Yeah, there are things other than ghosts to worry about.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night.
Spend the night on his couch. Stay here. Don't go home alone. Buddy system.
Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
Ask to stay here. Oh God, how do I say that word? Oh God. Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay, the tension in her voice makes me pause, and is in this instant that the mask she's been keeping falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat countenance. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling enough.
Bella, this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
Tell him about the ghost. The sound of glass shattering rents the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know anymore.
You saw a ghost! It's the ghost! Believe in the paranormal, okay? You've seen enough stuff to know that it's probably a ghost, or you've been exposed to a gas leak. If you have been exposed to a gas leak, then staying at your friend's house, it might fix that, because if it's in your apartment, then you've been breathing it in, but if you stay at his apartment, you'll probably be good. She claps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly to the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
All right, Isabella. Look at me.
My hands are firm on her shoulder when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close, too similar.
Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. you want to talk about it?
The force with which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic altogether.
No more. Please. No more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Okay. You can't just ignore the ghost and hope it'll go away.
Kate, no more talking. I won't ask any more. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much. We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. With no more words are exchanged after that, and I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either of us get hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than her ragged breaths or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the later does the trick. And soon enough, she has already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed, and hugs herself tighter against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her. Because no matter what promises I've made, this is the kind of fear no person could shield her from. I should know. There are still questions left to be answered. But the late hour, coupled with the sudden exhaustion, made my old couch a much more comfortable bed than it typically is. Darkness immediately welcomes me as my head hits the makeshift pillow. I can only wish that the dreams will keep a distance for now. For both of us. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights where sleep will pass like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun is yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cooling morning, washing everything in subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch up those precious few extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Is it the ghost? Does she have your number? Groggily, I scrambled for the bag sitting at the front foot of the bed. Oh, it's Ash. The ringing still hasn't stopped even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. It must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
Oh my god, the 20 minutes do not make it better.
You're one to talk. Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
I don't know, like your world might be with the ghost and all.
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off.
Did the ghost take her phone?
Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper one from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure to how to go about recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her there the night before. Sometimes during her sleep, she pulls the blanket over herself and tucked into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save for her firm grip on the edge of the covers, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something, the worry, the concern must have surfaced in my voice because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think... Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless.
Shit's going down!
Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you had learned something from me by now.
That's not it.
Most people with interrogation skills don't use those skills to interrogate their friends.
Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered him if the way he falls silent after is telling. But whatever his opinion is stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
I'm pretty sure even if you ignore the ghost thing, the fact that her coworker was murdered is pretty traumatic.
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Hopefully, because if she woke up to hear you talking about this, that's gonna be awkward.
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
Let her sleep. She's terrified of the ghost. She's gonna need it.
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
I feel like your friend being haunted by a ghost is worth calling in a personal day for.
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
It's totally out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It is.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxburn rouses. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of the nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of people as they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting and what's safe and what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like these, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through, despite the proverbial ghost hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsules, equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I'd spend minutes, heck even hours, staring at a single pill prior to taking one. Now it's just a routine, a way to stave off the unwanted nightly visits. Although, I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for a week. Do not avoid your therapist. Do not avoid the medical professional you have hired to help you. Don't do that. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, and then I pop the tablet into my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
Probably 6:30 a.m. The bottle on my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answers the questions with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities, inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford, to overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level as Ash exercises for his investigation or Rebecca needs for her own work, but it's certainly enough to definitely put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eye flickers to the table and my hand says something, it's that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
My doing. You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana would give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime.
Tell him about the ghost!
Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
You could make a pillow fort!
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back to the bottle holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifelessly to ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You don't belong here. It never stops, does it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at a loss for words at that. She has left it up to me whether I'll give her a response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her, if anyone would ask me. Just tell her the truth. There's nothing shameful about being on medication. You don't need to keep it a secret. But it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be. Not by a long shot. Not when I've let it stay this way for so long. I realized that long ago, when the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are a nightly occurrence, can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It's what's normal now, and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for her friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all people I want to keep close in my life, she's probably one of the few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely, but I can never hope she will. No, never the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her and giving too much of what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll heal me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I set it back to its usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder that I shouldn't miss every day, of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
Well, he is a detective for a reason.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It's far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp out the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. True to her word, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth, of my ma and pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what it left in me that day. I can't recall most of it now, my own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hits the floor, motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman. He was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed it until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, and maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me, a bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer in kind, if I'm supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my earlier apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it's obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Oh? Okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry. I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew. Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
It's a really hard thing to talk about, something that traumatic. And it makes sense that you wouldn't want to tell people because you don't want them treating you differently.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons? But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine.
Tell him about the ghost!
Look, about last night. Never mind. This isn't a good time.
Tell him about the ghost!
But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, in knowing that I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow, I find myself worrying for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that wouldn't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about the happiest people when angered? Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seemed relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it's been simply waiting for its cue, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
I don't care about the ghost. I need to be fed on a regular schedule. Where are my 3 square meals that I was promised?
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry.
You are that hungry.
Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about?
Yes.
I'll have you know I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Between us, the consistent clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual, we've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else would come knocking at the door. No! No, you do not wish that! Oh my god, you jinxed it! You jinxed it, man! Now the ghost is gonna show up at your door! What have you done? What have you done? What hell have you wrought? Okay, maybe that was a little bit of an overreaction on my part. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, he never did call back, and I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call. Oh, that better not be the ghost!
Sorry, Bella. Could you...
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there.
If this ghost interrupts breakfast, I swear...
Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Oh, thank God, it's just Ash. Ash has already welcomed himself in as when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never really been keen on with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you, this guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. He's a good fellow, though. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Izzy, man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
Ah, my bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up.
Did the ghost take your phone? Check if the ghost took your phone. If I was a ghost, the first thing I would do was steal everyone's cell phones.
Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
But the breakfast! The ham and potatoes! You need to eat!
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly clasps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the hand, doesn't appear too fond of this idea. And sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down, the force alone enough to halt both of them and catch the taller man off guard. It would have made for a funny picture. The way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are in his face all at once. Two things that rarely ever grace it if he can help it. A rare moment even for our small group. If only I had my camera with me. Dang.
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
Yeah, we're eating it.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
No.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking. Real delicious food that actually tastes like food.
Let the woman eat.
At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here.
These two. Whenever they're in the same room, sometimes it feels like hurting a group of unruly kids instead of two talking, mature adults. One moment they're engaged in a pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. And frankly, I don't know any better if I didn't know any better and I have an overreactive imagination, I'd say there's something going on. Yeah. Some kind of unresolved tension, maybe. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Clearly, you need to read more romance novels. Or maybe it's just me reading it too much into things like always. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggest as such. This, however, eat the food. He cooked you breakfast. Eat it. Eat it. The time it will take you to eat it and the time it would take you to wait in line at a drive-thru, get the food through the drive-thru, and leave is probably the same amount of time anyway. So eat it.
I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste.
Eat the food.
Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it, too.
The oven timer dings. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over to the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of the glaze and salty tang of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take the two trays inside. The scent immediately fills the entire room. Even with the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes down on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps up at the two of them, and I can't help keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the doorframe for support, doubled over with breathless laughter. Ash is more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything.
Sit down, shut your mouth, and then open it again to fill it with food.
Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Stop missing meals!
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Be responsible enough to get your 3 square meals a day in!
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
Zach is the dad friend of the group. We eventually settle down after the food has been served. The jibes replaced each other over a round of friendly chatter, mostly about what was on the news the night before. There is, however, a conscious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk over food or polite company, this case in particular. The wounds are too fresh, too soon. I'd likely avoid it as well if I were in her position, and someone I personally knew passed away in such a gruesome manner like that. Though perhaps the closest we go on broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. But even then, we are careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light and avoid bringing up her late business partner. It's the least we can do.
The Wrights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned.
Oh, so this is before the party.
It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely? Sorry, I was a little out of it yesterday. Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Something. When you put it that way, I suppose it makes sense why my boss wants me to prioritize the couple.
They're the talk of the town.
They can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers. Then they're more influential than I initially thought. Man, I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself. Ma'am Hana's easy to please, too. As long as you're good at following instructions.
Hana's nice and she deserves a better husband.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but...
But it's still weird.
It is the signs of someone desperately trying to salvage a failing marriage.
Still weird, yeah?
A slip of the tongue. Still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways, yet in this moment it's impossible to miss. I shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it. Rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Well, they should have one, especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office. If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
Several people have, many times. He is making an active decision not to change.
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup. That's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
How do you make a pressure cooker explode?
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
How was it so bad it ended up on the news?
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
It was big enough to get on the news.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
Ash, what the frick?
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
How?
Can we please move on to a different topic?
It helps. The casual talk, the harmless teasing, the mundane stories interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at the forefront of my mind. And if it's the same for Isabella, for whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't exactly easy. Ain't easily forgotten after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach. I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tosses over, but he doesn't give her an answer and waves her to go ahead.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
Steal his car, it'll be funny. Commit to the bit.
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Commit to the bit!
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you. See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
A grin is back on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after we're left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit to go down at some point soon.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Don't get involved in the haunted house, Zach. The ghost isn't worth it.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Oh god, are we about to find out some mafia shit is going on in addition to the ghost? Are we gonna have to fight the ghost mafia?
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
He nods, claps a comforting hand on my shoulder, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often, he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but he doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head towards the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask. He's likely taken notice of it the moment he's entered the room.
You back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is. I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
I don't know, like, Zach was the one who mainly was like, maybe it's a ghost, and got the priest involved, so if she was gonna tell anyone about the ghost, it'd be him. Becca and Ash didn't really super believe in it.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time, when he reaches the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on a nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Emigrant Mansion, H. Wright, 11 a.m. for luxury living. After Ashton's warnings, they all hold a different meaning now. Oh, we're really in it now, Zach. Okay, I'm gonna take a break real quick. I'll be right back. And we're back. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by the overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julia is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants. Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There's nothing new in, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I have grown used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, cash in some late hours if need be, rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep at it. Give it enough time, you might end up with the big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when a local news channel or a paper has something to say on their name. A party here, an acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business venture, other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows the popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine that I would end up working for such a high-profile couple. And between that, the fuss that comes with it, it never leaves me time to ponder over what really happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant that we keep away from the pair. Ash knows what's up.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Well, Hannah's nice. Her husband fucking sucks. Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. I believe it. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, or eventually it simply died down. Yeah, money talks, bullshit walks. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Mrs. Wright would ever pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. You'd be surprised about the poor choices a woman can make out of self-esteem issues. You'd be very surprised indeed. Mrs. Wright, Hannah herself, though, she ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. What are the tabloids saying about Hannah? Hannah is lovely. No one slander her name. All she needs to do is leave her husband. She can get a house on the beach and a dog. And maybe Zach can go with her if he's into that. Like, do you want to, like, after the divorce is finalized, the papers have all been handled, and she's had time to herself to learn how to be on her own again instead of in a relationship, maybe, just maybe, she would be open to dating and you guys could get coffee sometime. Just maybe, I don't know. Like, Hannah's nice. Zach's nice. Zach, how do you feel about houses on the beach and owning a dog? For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendship is what I least expected from her, but here we are. Although with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a really nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might have even ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella too if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. The quick beep pulls me back before my thoughts travel any farther. In one practice motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a drying rack and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one for the night for the set that Mrs. Wright requested. I don't usually make a habit giving away stuff, that is. It's bad for business, no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This is an exception, however. She did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I probably would have given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Mrs. Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. And maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, and a plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles. Always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like these help. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray, holding a decent amount of the photo flow. A few seconds under the solution is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee amongst the mess of tools on the drawer near the other. The bulb flickers twice before it glows and settles a soft light in a tiny space. When I glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish off the process to call it a night,
What on earth?
Oh, shit! Okay. Her head is gone. Yeah. That happened. Oh, I think this was the picture he took that when the ghost was around her neck. So the ghost distorted it. Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
A common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before, loads of times actually. But I still can't help but feel a pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
A memory clicks, one cursory thought in the sea of many, had yet a distinct second from the day before. A glimpse was all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. Hey, girl. How you doing? Yeah, you still on this? Okay. You should get a hobby. No, a woman. In her 20s or early 30s, maybe. But with how far gone in her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself is already tacky, a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Mrs. Wright's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath it with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary.
Not for me, but for Mrs. Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something I saw. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
The memory is enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then. A trick of the eye, I told myself. Or a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And well, blaming this on the usual an overworked brain, the weather, or an amateur error on my part is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot more sense than what the small voice in my head whispers. The same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something is afoul. The same one that lent a curious ears to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Show the photo to Hannah. Show the photo to Ash. Someone has to know. Okay, I don't want to show Hannah, because I think that would freak her out. I think we should show Ash. Because I think we should show Ash. I want to show Ash. Ash will give me flack for this. I can already hear what he's going to say about this the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. This guy is a skeptic through and through, and it'll take more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I am no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this will help him change his mind, it's worth a try. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I go about the process with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives out with a soft click, and the darkness embraces the small closet again. Oh, the ghost is going to show up in the closet, isn't she?
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Oh, good. Okay, we're safe. For now. We're safe for now. Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and 1 visit to his flat later, I still have no idea which rock in Luxburn he went off to hide under again. The guy has his own place but refuses to stay in it. He has his own phone but doesn't answer any of his calls or give any indication he's gotten my messages. Most of the time, he'll just show up at my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining about how uncomfortable it is to sleep at the back of his car. And if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him, though. A bit frustrating, really. There's the police precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either, and that's also true for the day. He's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much for me to do but wait for him if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
While Luxburn is a relatively peaceful city boasting a low crime rate, its precinct is abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of rooms, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some look a little worse for wear, like the receptionist who looked at me with much disdain from the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice is low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the lobby.
Not even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
Oh, no.
You were the one handling that case.
Oh, no!
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell.
Oh, no. We're about to walk into something here.
Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Oh, was that the guy we could have chosen over the priest?
Well, Never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with.
Let's mess with him! Let's kill him! Let's make his wife leave him! We gotta do something about him! We can't just let him do whatever! He's definitely committed some crimes. So many crimes, probably. A bunch of crimes.
They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved.
Oh, this fucker is up to stuff. Hannah better not be dragged into this mess.
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the 4th one yesterday.
Oh, God.
Murders, people missing, what a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
Yeah, this was probably happening back in ye olden times, too. People just weren't paying as much attention. Like, is it really that things have gotten worse, or is it just because of like cell phones and video cameras and like the 24-hour news cycle, we're all a lot more tuned in and aware of what's going on?
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
He notices me as soon as he enters the lobby and positives. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out the phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls out his own mobile, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up, though, only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement.
Stop taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
At least use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice.
Your phone does more stuff than that, and you know it's that. You know it, Ash.
What else do I need it for?
Calling people. Texting them. Stuff. Taking pictures of stray cats. I don't know. Take a picture of a raccoon next time you see one. You'll just go through, just go outside, find the nearest garbage can, see if there's a raccoon in there. One time my friend found a raccoon in his trash and the thing was very aggressive. He was like, here, peace officer, I'm just here to drop this off. It's yours. I want nothing to do with you. We have no quarrel, and left. And I was like, oh my god, what would you have done if it attacked you? And it's like, well, I would have been the guy at the emergency room having to explain that a raccoon attacked him.
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, however. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start, and technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on something like a case he's handling, he tends to forget that there are other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can get him a long way.
I've got an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
Ash, don't lie to your friends.
For policing purposes?
What do you need? Okay, what were you doing on Instagram that required policing purposes? What was it? Actually, people probably do make a lot of posts to Instagram with selfies of illegal shit they were doing. So yeah, I could see you using it for policing purposes.
Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Look, about that, there's something I want you to see.
He stops me with a tap on my shoulder, walks past me straight to the door, and gestures with his head towards the very irked receptionist when I raise an eyebrow in question.
Over lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. As expected, he takes a seat at the farthest corner of the cafe, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and goes. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is the lunch he invited me to, I would automatically assume I got dragged into another stakeout. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits he has that I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. A slice of vegetarian quiche for me. Meanwhile, Ash has opted for a cup of the coffee, plus a gracious serving
You having cake for lunch?
Oh, Ash, you're having cake for lunch? Get it together, man. This isn't... No. I kind of want to have some cake for lunch now that he's brought it up. I kind of do. I do. I want to. I want to be naughty. I want to have some cake for lunch. I want to be naughty. He shrugs and then proceeds to dig in without even a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful. It's just for today.
Oh, it is for more than just today.
You should listen to her, though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets. I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you, just this once.
That's what you said about the air fryer you blew up.
Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of two kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles.
That is true.
At least Bella knows how to cook.
Hey, I can at least boil something.
No, I don't think you can! I don't think you can!
Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
Oh my god.
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
To be fair, he genuinely appears offended at the last remark. Hate will be too strong a word to describe how Sis and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Though, whatever appropriate word it is, I can't say with the most certainty that the feeling's mutual for both. Ash thinks she nags too much, while Sis thinks he's a trouble magnet and I should stay away from him. They're both technically right on their assessments.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
She's married to one now.
You do know she's married to one now.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
Well, how many times has her cooking accidents ended up on the news?
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
Oh my god. Ash, you need to go to a cooking class! Did you not have home ec in school?
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl, I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
You mean the car you sleep in because you don't want to use your own apartment, despite paying for it? He makes a show of being utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of it. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the small visits whenever he can. Something about it reminds him of his own family, sort of like making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Sore spot, that one topic. One thing he never brings up in any conversation, if he can help it. And I've never seen the need to be nosy. There are some wounds you're just not meant to open, for both of us. The sentiment goes the same way.
As if you ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams. But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one.
Oh, the kitty wants to come play? Come here, kitty kitty. Come here. You can come play. I got you. Scoop. Scoop. There you go. There's the kitty. Now be quiet. Don't meow into the mic, okay?
What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. Well, there's this one thing.
Tell him about the ghost. The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them, all reprints of the same thing, Mrs. Wright's distorted head on the photos. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow in his brow doesn't ease, even as he gathers all of it into one pile and sets them on a neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hannah Wright?
Yep.
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off.
Oh god, is the locket cursed? Maybe the ghost going for her neck wasn't trying to choke her out, but trying to take the locket instead.
Evan's family heirloom.
I won't even think about asking why or how he knows that. If he's investigating them, he'll likely have already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including family history.
Are you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. That's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
Oh yeah, title drop. He drags a breath and reaches up his nose. He drags a breath, reaches up his nose, and pinches it. Like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world to continue this conversation.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
It's about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
You do. Listen.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you.
Dude!
You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
Because it happened like more than once. It's like, this is, come on.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back in his seat and doesn't say anything further. He gestures for me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatience clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this and he'll walk out without batting an eye. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hana.
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting a moment before settling into a deep frown.
Hana? Since when were you on a first-name basis with the right missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
His voice stays level, but the accusation makes it clear as day. It hits a nerve in me somehow, more than that tone usually does. I do get where he's coming from, but dude, that's not the point here. Of all the things I said, my connection with the rights was the first thing he points out. As much as I want to keep my own annoyance at boy, I can't stop from seeping into my voice.
That's completely beside the point here, Ash.
I warned you, Zach.
I get it, all right? But you can't just expect me to turn it down after I made a commitment to a client. I've got to put food on my table.
I didn't say you shouldn't, but you should not be messing with them.
But, like, help him then!
I wasn't messing with them.
And this isn't?
He waves the photos in front of me before dropping the pile on the table with a loud smack. I don't need to look to know we've attracted some attention from the lunchtime crowd. Besides, turning away from him almost feels the same as admitting he's right. There are some things more important than his damn case right now. I wish he'd see that.
It was a job, and that ain't how these photos were intended to come out. You think I'd go out of my way just to edit something like this? There's something weird going on here.
And you think Luke Wright will see it that way? You think the right missus will find it amusing?
I did not do this for my amusement, Ash. People's lives might be at stake here.
If you understood that in the first place, we wouldn't be having this stupid talk.
Ash, you're not being a very good friend right now.
Luke fucking Wright is a dangerous man, Zach.
Okay, cool. Well, the ghost is probably gonna kill him, and we have to worry about the ghost instead.
Keep hanging around them and you'll find yourself burnt to a crisp in your apartment or floating down a river 3 days later.
Well, if that's what they'll do, what do you think the freaking ghost will do?
This case is...
Will you stop talking about the damn case for once and just listen to me?
Oh god, I hate listening to friends fight.
Why do you think Isabella's...
Don't you dare bring her into this. We're talking about you and this stupid...
Isabella's already part of it. The ghost showed up at her fucking job.
Oh, of course you don't want to talk about it. Because you're fucking afraid there's some damn truth to what she's saying now that there's two of us.
Every expression drains from his face as soon as the words are out of my mouth. They've hit their mark. Each utterance scathes, sharp with nothing but anger and truth. Yet, they are also things I won't typically say out loud in good company, and rather ease people into before letting it fall. Almost immediately, a wave of regret washes over me.
Ash, dude, that ain't what I meant to...
You said enough, Zach.
Ash! Without another word, he stands, his chair scraping loudly against the floor, all while my brain races to find something to fix this. Ours ain't a fragile friendship by any means. I like to think we've gone past the stage when we find everything the other says insulting. There are sometimes when letters and phrases alone can cut deeper than any blade. Mine might even leave a scar. He doesn't let me, however. Instead, he sets a card in front of me. The name is familiar, but amidst the cloud of remorse swirling inside my head, I can't bring myself to recall where I've seen it.
You shouldn't be running blind. Call this guy. He'll be less inclined to shout at you. Might even talk some sense into you.
I don't see his face when he leaves, and it's only when the store's bell chimes again that I do breathe. Oh, God. Oh, God. Ah, they fought, and Ash isn't helping us. Fuck. Fuck, we're gonna get killed by a ghost. Oh, God, we're all gonna fucking die. I'm trying really hard to make sure that only Luke dies and none of the others. And I don't know if that's really something that's gonna be up to me. All of the places it never crossed my mind, I ended up wandering into the public library today, considering I rarely ever visited. Somehow there has always been this kind of disconnect between me and books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during brief times of the day when I was left on my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grant's collection, as a matter of fact. Read all of them twice, or thrice even. But they never did hold it for long. Most of them never even sticked. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do things myself if I wanted to learn stuff. This ain't the plan in the first place. But after that argument, I really don't have a choice. Nothing but quiet greets me inside, though. Not the typical mum one would associate with the library, but akin to a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again. I really like to think that I'm just thinking too much and that this is just a lack of sleep talking. Regardless, apart from the group of students murmuring in the corner somewhere, the place is free of its usual visitors. All the while, my footsteps echo in a manner unsettling enough to raise the hairs at the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it does not take me long to find him, being the only occupant in this side of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he's Ash's go-to guy when something's troubling him with a case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile, like a grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary.
Hello, can you help with the ghost problem?
You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh, no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
Come on up, kitty. Come on up. Okay, there you are. Good kitty. He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns to his books. The next couple of minutes pass in relative silence as he continues to read and take notes from the pile he's accumulated on the table. Maybe I should have taken a book first before heading here. But before I can even get far into the idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets it atop the stack next to him.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me.
Do you have holy water? And if so, can I please have it to put in a water gun and squirt at a ghost? Pretty please. At my confused look, he lets out a small chuckle.
He sent a message ahead. A friend needs to have some sense knocked into him. In verbatim.
Please don't hit me with the book. Please don't hit Zach with the book. Please don't physically knock sense into him with a book.
That boy never changes.
I wasn't really expecting you to do that.
Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How do we get out of this mess is the first among tens, hundreds of my concerns in my head. But in the presence of someone I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He's nothing but patient, however. With enough time to mull over, a question finally forms.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make. But they really are two different things.
Actually, it's supernatural, not paranormal. It's a common mistake, but they really are two different things. Oh, I'm sorry. I had my fedora sitting on the chair next to me. Let me put it on real quick.
The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to. Here.
He places a couple of papers in front of me, the very same one he's been writing on earlier. A study of Luxmore's supernatural culture in a nutshell.
A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even, out of great anger, hatred, or pain. There was this one story. Here it is.
Another book is pulled from the stack and placed atop the open papers, while he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of him believes these to be true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon the hours passed without my notice.
In the end, it asked for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the wraith.
We need to burn down the mansion! That's the sacrifice! We just need to burn down the mansion! The ghost is flipping out and killing all these people, like the people being targeted. Okay, the people that went missing were all working for the real estate company. They were all involved in that. The people that were killed were all involved in the real estate company. They were involved in that. The people being haunted are the people who saw the letter from the real estate agent and the people living in that house. So, the ghost is mad about people living in that house, so all we gotta do is burn the mansion down. I solved it, gang! All our problems will go away with just a little bit of arson. Yay, arson!
A sad tale, that one. But the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser. Oh, I'm sorry. I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde mansion, though?
Of course. That goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man.
What do you think of helping me burn it down, sir? When's the last time you committed arson?
You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house.
Yeah, it definitely was a lady that's been trying to kill people. Unless, well, the ghost may have transitioned. That's a possibility.
But my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Oh, it could be the daughter, too.
Well, what about these, then?
There is a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Mrs. Wright's photos and lay them all in front of me. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
A few days ago.
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them.
Just ignore the ghost that might kill people?
Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know?
I don't know if they believe you. And also, like, Hannah's gonna be fine. She's gonna go back to the flat. And it's just gonna be Luke in the house. And Luke can get fucked.
I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
Luke deserves it. Luke deserves to get killed by the ghost. Hannah doesn't. Hannah can go back to her flat.
Deserve what, sir?
All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappear, his face becoming unreadable. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathers his books, and rises from his seat.
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do.
Oh, that's a lie.
You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
All right. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years.
How do you feel about doing some arson?
I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. In a few short strides, he's out of the library, leaving me in every piece of this whole mess amidst the oppressive stillness. Despite the answers gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there is even a single way out of this, I hope we find it soon. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing in my ears, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she hears me walk like that, but after today, I really can't give a damn about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down and find myself looking at the paper under my grip. An invitation and a request to cover an event. The Wrights' housewarming party, tomorrow evening. Oh yeah, there's gonna be a big scene. It's gonna be awesome. If only it were that easy. But it'll give me a chance to talk to her. Oh, he's gonna go back in to try and warn Hannah. Oh my god. It's kind of romantic. I ship it. About that thing in their house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of the bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow, when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman in the haunting smiles of a ghost. But lately, it occurs to me that the last meal I ate was the one with Ashton. And an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time, and frankly a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do know where I do not know where it will come to tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown for a loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's one thing that hasn't changed. Okay, let's go to the party. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Solemn but gentle, and with a soothing reminder of what home is. Pa's firm but meaningful gaze, Ma's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the ease of sunset, the distinct smell of wet earth and leaves after a long day's rain in our room. The room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy, the plan we were promised several springs ago. Yet it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet for more than usually is, the walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa... I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's only blinding fear. But when the light breaks... Her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip on Hannah's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant. Every limb, heavy with lead, are all unable to move at will. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming at my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours, while I force it back into a steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst. Something cold has settled on my legs. Not the usual chill of what goes from a passing breeze in the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure winds firmly around my legs. Tighter, and tighter, and tighter, until it becomes too much. My heart stops. Another draft sweeps into the room and brings in an iron tang of blood. Thick, suffocating, filling my nose with foul, sickening smell as I shift my gaze downwards. It slowly comes into the view. What the hell is happening? Zach can't die yet. He showed up at the party. Ah! Hey! Sup? How you doing? Can you not? Please? Mouth stretched into a hideous smile, eyes brimming with nothing but madness. The stench of gore taints the air around me, and I can't look away. From it, from her, from the terror and death that her uncanny, twisted features alone scream. I try to open my mouth, to shout, to ask for help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is the painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. And then suddenly, the bed dips. Oh, fuck! Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Zach's fine. Good. Good. We're good. This is fine. The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There is no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs. Just a painful, constricting awareness that something has wound itself tightly around my neck. I waste no time pulling it, a blanket, away, but allow myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting off the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they in the small cursory flashes that I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement, her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath, and before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even in the waking world, it reeks. A bench on the park is far from the most private place for thoughts in Luxbourne, considering the location at the heart of the bustling city. But in the early hours of the morning, it proves enough peace and quiet for any poor problematic soul who happens to wander here. The city is just waking up, a little later than usual, but knowing what day it is, one can't fault it for being a little tardy just this once. Yet, neither the pleasant morning chill nor the soft twittering of birds does anything to help banish the images. Every single one has rooted itself in my head, its claws digging deep in what is no longer a safe place to hide in. It used to be easy finding some presence of peace under the guise of the sheer optimism following the regular routine. Now I don't know what to make of it. Sometimes it's easier to run, to hide, with everything falling apart. That way you don't have to be the first to witness it when it does. It worked when things went bad in the movie, after all. It also worked when Ma and Pa were taking from us. Maybe it really is better if I just...
Hey, mister.
Oh, a child! The tiny voice gives me a pause. When I look up, a little girl, maybe about 6 or 7, is peering at me. 2 wide eyes overflowing with what can only be natural curiosity one typically sees in children. You look like Marinette from Miraculous Ladybug. I like that. You're such a little cutie. I vaguely note the St. Goretti uniform she's wearing before returning her greeting.
Hey, kid.
Kylie.
Kylie?
That's my name. Mama said it's rude not to call people by their names.
She then flops down on the empty space beside me. Her little legs, too short to touch the ground, swings in tune with the song she hums under her breath. I don't mind kids. Nana would often invite ones in our old neighborhood to give them treats. Of course, by then, Sis and I were both too old to play with them, but you get used to the commotion eventually. It's not completely as unpleasant as most people would imply. Kylie seems to be a well-behaved kid anyway.
Oh, sorry. Nice to meet you, Kylie. Is Mama here?
No, but my big brother's with me. He's taking pictures with his camera over there.
She points to the far end of the park, the one closest to the street, where a kid is taking shots of something above him. It doesn't look to be birds, because all there is on that side of the park are buildings.
I don't see what's so interesting with the tip of a building, though. I'd take pictures of dogs if I were him. They're cuter.
I like the way you think, Kylie.
Do you have a camera too, mister?
Yeah, I'm actually a photographer.
Mama said I'm too young to get a camera.
I'm sure your mama will eventually give you one. But won't you be late for school like this?
Big brother will get us there on time. Rowan promised Papa. We aren't going to be late. It's sports day. So it's not good if you keep looking like that today. If it ends up raining and we lose, it's your fault.
All right, I'll try not to upset the clouds today, kid.
Is it because you're sick, mister?
Before I know it, a smile has spread over my face. They say kids ask the toughest questions sometimes, and they sure do, with how sincere Kylie looks. Lying feels like doing her a huge disservice.
No, not sick. Just having a very, very bad day.
Why is that? Is that like when my big brother ate all of my pudding? He did that once and then cried. It wasn't very nice of him.
Yeah, I think so. You see, there's this mean girl. She's given my friends and I a lot of trouble. I even got in a fight with my best friend because of her. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary. Makes you wish things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with you?
She did start... The ghost at first was saying, help me. So, maybe we can help the ghost pass on. Maybe she's just like... Maybe she is a spirit brought on by anger and rage and hatred over her death. And she's scared of that. She's terrified of that. She doesn't want to be this evil spirit. But she doesn't know how to pass on either. And that's why she's asking for help. And when she hurts people or scares them like this, it's not what she wants to do. It's something she can't control doing.
I highly doubt that. She already hurt one of my friends.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help. That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers. Now we're playmates.
It's not really the same thing, Kylie. What she did, they're pretty bad things.
I still think there's another reason. Did you try talking to her? That's what Mama said I should do.
Okay, get out the Ouija board. We're doing this.
I don't think that'll work either.
Buy a Ouija board. Let's see.
You haven't even tried yet. You sound like Rowan. You're just scared, mister.
That is true. Very scared of the ghost. That might kill us. That strikes a chord. Maybe it's the honesty in her tone or simply the truth behind the words itself, but I don't know why, but I can't help it. I laugh. Loud enough to disturb an elderly couple taking a leisure walk nearby.
Why are you laughing?
That's nothing. You're a really smart kid, you know that?
That's what I've been doing, ain't it? Going full speed ahead, then backtrack when the going gets tough. Stay in my safe zone because that's what I know. Once Dr. Navarro said I should be the first one willing to deal with my problems before anyone else. I didn't show up on our next appointment after that. But he's right. And though I hate to admit it, knowing what I've seen, but the kid makes a good point too. I've been so caught up in thinking there might not be a way out. Maybe there isn't, or maybe there is, but that doesn't mean I should just leave it up to fate. Aren't spirits supposed to be humans before too? Had people they cared about lived a life of their own, smiled and laughed like the rest of us? Do they really lose all of it after death?
You better get to school, though, or you'll miss sports day. You should have won yourself some awards, alright?
Alright. Can I show it to you when I do? That can cheer people up, right?
In the distance, her brother calls for her, and I took that as a sign to leave. Got things to do to face. To face. The first few steps, they say.
Nah, I'm good now, I think. Thanks to you. Besides, Mister needs to go. But you should show it to Mama and Papa. I'm sure they'll be proud of you, Kylie.
I will. Thanks, mister. Bye.
I gave her a little pat on the head before heading my way. A small gesture of thanks from a stranger she didn't know she might have helped. She may not understand it now, even though at such a young age she already has this understanding of things, but maybe when she's older. When the world no longer seems too big for
But
her.
aren't you going to help me, mister?
With what?
Confused, I glance back. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? Why? Whatever cheer or little talk brought has vanished under the shadows suddenly dancing in my eyes. Frigid air is most definitely not how the morning chill should feel like. Bitter, stinging, unwelcoming. And the kid...
What do you think, mister? Are you going to help me?
Oh, great. The ghost possessed the child. Fan-frickin-tastic.
What do you want from us?
The response never comes, however. Because when I blinked, gone.
Hello? Mister? Are you okay?
For several passing seconds, I let my stare linger on her face, waiting for any sign of another change. But all that remains is the carefree smile of a child. None of spite, none of the cold, bloody smile.
Nothing, huh? I really need to go, Kylie. It was nice meeting you.
See you again, mister!
I break into a run. I don't look back, not even as I bump into a couple passersby as soon as I'm out on the busy streets. Going insane. That's what it is. And if we don't do something soon, we all will be. The tremors follow me even as I get home. I had hoped a little stroll around the block for a few hours would help. Instead, I am assaulted by more images of her. Her smile, the loathing in her eyes, the stench of gore, the horrid crunch that comes with every movement she makes. Even old memories have been sullied by her. Ma's song no longer sounds as sweet as it meant to be. In the end, all I've got is a sinking feeling that I will never be rid of her image, and another ridiculous idea that may or may not even work. The sun is already hanging low on the horizon when I make it back, and for the first time, coming home feels more like a chore. Only, I didn't arrive to an empty room, because as soon as I open the door, I'm greeted by none other than...
Sup, Z-Man?
Oh, thank God, Ash, you need to listen to us. The ghost is possessing children.
I told you we should have called him before going here.
It's fine.
It's Ashton. I see first, sitting comfortably on my couch, munching on a bag of chips with both feet plopped atop the coffee table. Whatever profitable stone has made a home at the pit of his stomach automatically flies right out the window at the sight of him. But before any exasperation can set in, my attention is taken up by the other occupant in the room. Isabella perches on the only other chair in the room, attempting to make herself smaller, it seems, from how closely she's nudging her arms against her. Nevertheless, she gives me a small smile when she notices my stare. Yet somehow, there ain't any warmth in it like it's supposed to have.
Hey, Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was...
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself.
Yeah, probably so you'd stop breaking the rest of his locks.
Only after you broke the 13th one. I can't keep replacing them every time you think it'd be a good idea to break into my apartment.
Oh.
And stop calling me Z-Man.
I didn't break anything this time.
Are you sure? You didn't hesitate to break open that bag of chips.
Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to. And, hey, is that my...
Those are your chips. Ash smirks at me because, of course, he has the gall to smirk knowing what he did. He pops in, what's very likely, the last piece of chip into his mouth and folds the wrapper neatly on the table before throwing it out on the nearby trash. From her chair, Isabella shoots me an apologetic smile as the foil hits the waste bin with a dull thunk. Common sense dictates that I should be angry. But after everything, despite the things we've yet to straighten out before it blows up in our faces, having something normal play out in front of me, no matter how childish their antics can get, I can't bring myself to muster even a tidbit of it. Behind me, the television starts blaring music for the end credits of a movie. They likely have been waiting for a while. If Ash has gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch something.
Of course he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good, Zach.
Really? It's free food, you know. What was that you usually say? You don't say no to free food? What happened?
No, I'm just not hungry.
Ash only shrugs at the question in my eyes. I can't be the only one who finds the vibe she's giving off to be odd, and the guy has no doubt already caught wind of it.
Aye. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Still not a 5-star level thing, but for an empty stomach, it'd do. Just say the word.
Thanks, Zach. Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for. Ash, he's the one who...
She casts a brief glance at Ash, and in an instant, he sits up. Every trace of amusement is gone from his face as he claps his hand in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease, yet the grim expression on him tells a different story altogether.
All right, you two, what's this about? I don't like those looks. If this has something to do with the other day, I really am sorry about that. It was rude, and I didn't mean for it to come out that way.
A short but tense pause follows. They're both stalling. Under normal circumstances, I'd wait, but with these two, the more you force it, the more they'll clamp down on it. But as a handful of seconds continue to slip by, the unsettling feeling in me also grows with it. Soon, it turns into impatience. Before I can demand a response, though, one of them finally speaks up. It's Ashton who first breaks it.
No, don't apologize. I should have listened.
How is everything with you lately, Zach?
Oh, the ghost is freaking me out. That's how that's going.
Hold on, Ash. Both of you. Did I just hear you say that? Is this why Isabella's here? Has something happened?
Calm down, we're just here to check on things. So, did you meet Andrew about the photos?
What photographs?
Said photographs have been sitting untouched since the day I dumped them in my drawer. Isabella goes very still when I hand her a small stack. To her credit, she does not flinch like I'm expecting to and flips through each one of it in silence. But her eyes remain strangely calm, her hands have gone rigid, and her mouth is set into a thin line. She, out of all people, understands what this means. In hindsight, she should have been the one I approached before Ash.
What did Andrew say about them?
It could be one, but there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen. So, that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy for this feels pretty silly now. But with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all? Did you ask him even?
I pause, glancing at him skeptically. I don't know where this sudden curiosity is coming from. But if Ashton, calm, cool, collected, always logical Ashton, takes interest in this, something or someone must have fucked shit up somewhere. Or the world is ending. Seconds pass. The apocalypse I'm expecting to go along with doesn't arrive, however.
Yeah, that's really everything. The letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time. There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with the story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on. Kinda nasty if you ask me, but it does make sense if you simply go along with it. I'm not sure how this will help in the grand scheme of things. Why are you asking about this anyway?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach. It may have something to do with...
Wait. Stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day, you said the exact same thing.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something.
Oh, shit!
Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
Yep, we're doomed.
Are you sure you even have the time? Ain't you busy with your current case?
I got taken off that one.
You didn't say you were taken off your case.
He's off the case! He's a loose cannon! He had to turn in his badge and everything.
I just got the news this morning. Apparently the higher-ups think I'm doing a horrendous job at it. It doesn't matter though. If these two cases are connected like I initially thought, then regardless, I'm on the right track.
Are you sure we should even be doing this?
Doing what exactly?
There's someplace we'll visit after this.
Too vague for comfort, Ash. And please don't tell me you're bringing her with you.
His affirmation comes in the form of a stare, but that alone says all I need to know. What I pointed out gives him a pause, however, and his voice is thick with hesitation when he addresses Isabella.
You know what? Zach's right, Isabella. You don't have to come with me.
It's not myself I'm worried about. It's you. I'll just do this myself, if it'll get you into more trouble with your superiors. At least I can make up an excuse why I need to be there.
Don't be ridiculous. You're not walking in there without me. Besides, I think it's a little too late to back out now.
He's a loose cannon!
Have you two seen the news this morning?
I haven't, actually. Mama called, and I was busy.
The change in the air around her, while small, cannot have gone unnoticed, and it takes every willpower not to ask. Probably the only thing reigning in my curiosity is the fact that Ash himself hasn't brought it up either.
No problem. It should be in the afternoon news as well.
Oh, fuck! Man burned after room catches fire. Oh, yep, the same help me stuff. Shit. He grabs the remote and cycles through numerous channels until he gets to a news report about another guy who's been found dead in the early hours of the morning today. Burned alive this time. Oddly, no fire has spread and whatever damage has been contained within the place the body was found. The room itself, however, has been completely vandalized. Help me. Help me. Help me. Another murder. The authorities claimed. Isabella and I knew better. None of us shifts, even after the report ends, but the room has suddenly felt stifling. Ashton's eyes have gone hooded with what appear to be restrained anger, and the remote on his hand creaks mildly under his grip. The stone is back in my stomach. A tiny little thing gripping at my insides, growing with every passing second as the dread sinks in. In the thick of it, Isabella's voice is the one that breaks the hush. A small, weak thing on its own that wavers unevenly between words, but every syllable heavy with meaning.
This is because of that thing, isn't it? I did this somehow.
No, what? No! Ugh. When it fades, all that's left in the air is her doubt and fear, and all we can do is cope. Is there something I can say to make her feel better? We can still fix this. We can stop the ghost before it hurts any more people.
It ain't too late. We could still fix this. There's 3 of us here. 4 if you count Rebecca.
No, she's staying away from this.
She lifts her gaze at me, eyes steady and shoulders squared, as she holds it against the baffled look I give her. Although in the next second, it immediately softens and it takes me by surprise nonetheless. In those brief moments, it's like I faced a different person.
I don't want to involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well.
I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking.
Still in all, that's 2 extra heads who can do the thinking. Between us 3, I'm sure we'll figure something out pretty soon.
Don't make this whole thing sound like it's a piece of cake to deal with.
It ain't. But better than sitting around, yeah? Plan is still a plan.
Okay, we're gonna lure her out with a Ouija board. Then, while she's distracted with the Ouija board, one of us will sneak up behind her with the water gun full of holy water. Everyone good with the plan? Everyone needs to be good with the plan.
You're going to shoot yourself in the foot one day with that kind of thinking. We don't even know who's doing this. The last 2 murders might just be similar incidents done by 2 different suspects.
Hasn't stopped you from going after them before. Remember that time when you...
Okay, stop right there. There will be no retelling of that incident today, Z-Man.
Retell the incident.
Or ever.
I crave the juicy gossip.
Keep calling me Z-Man and maybe I will.
Suddenly, Isabella laughs. Though muffled by her hands, it rings light and easy against the thick tension in the room. Still, a far cry from the usual cheer she carries, but a welcome shift in the otherwise dreary mood.
Thanks, you two.
I'll tell you about it when he's not around.
Give it up, Z-Man. She's not interested.
Who says I'm not?
Ash makes a face but chuckles at the jest despite
Why
himself.
am I even friends with you two?
And like this, most of our worries ebb away, if only for a few moments. They take their leave mere minutes close to sundown. But regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of their plans, only vague hints of what they're aiming to do. While it ain't any of my business to know, something about this whole thing still gnaws at me. A tiny passing thought urges at me to do something as well. I'm going to take a quick break, but I'll be right back. hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustle matters to them as they step out of the crowded walkway, however. Ash especially. There's only one goal in his mind, and I wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided long before they made the decision to drop by. Despite this, Isabella lags behind. A worried crease is back in her forehead as she watches Ash leave to get his car.
Something wrong, Bella?
No, actually, can you check on Becca for me after this? I really didn't get the chance to tell her where I'm headed off to.
Yep.
Tell her I'm okay and No, just that. That's all.
You sure I should skip on that part? If she finds out about this, she'll be angry. I don't really want to deal with angry Rebecca. It gives me a stomachache just thinking about it.
Neither do I, but I'll handle it if she gets mad. Just make sure she's safe and tell her to be careful. You too. Take care of yourself.
Almost abruptly, she pauses, the gaze in her eyes hardening as she lapses into another one of those long-distance silences from earlier. This ain't just because of the whole fiasco with the letter anymore.
I don't want what happened to Rose to happen to you guys as well.
This one cut deeper. Before I can ask about it, Ashton returns casually, swinging his car keys on one hand and gestures at Isabella.
Come on, we don't have much time. Shirley's waiting.
Shirley sounds impatient.
Who's sure? Oh, right.
Yeah, he named his car.
Don't answer that. I don't want to hear it, you huge dork.
Says the person who gave her stuffed toys names. Batcat? Really?
It's cute. Yours is just weird. I'll see you later, Zach.
She spares me another smile, and as I watch her walk off, only now does it occur to me that none of those she gave today ever did reach her eyes. I make a grab for the back of Ash's parka. He staggers briefly before correcting himself and shooting me a confused stare.
Is she all right?
No!
What? Who's okay?
Isabella. She's been, I don't know, out of it today? Did something happen earlier?
The scowl on his face says it all.
She's actually been like that this morning. I'll ask, but...
Just do me a favor and watch over her. We have no idea what we're dealing with.
You're dealing with a ghost. It's really mad. It's saying help me, so maybe you can help it, but I don't know.
I don't know what happened to her since the last time I saw her. But from how she's been doing today, whatever it is, seems like a pretty big deal.
Oh, my cat came back. Come here, kitty kitty. Up you go. Yeah, just sit here. There you go. You want to watch the horror game? Yeah, you like horror games, don't you, kitty cat? Yes, you do.
Wait, you didn't annoy her again, did you? Because I swear to God, if you did, you've got another thing coming for you.
What? No. Why would I?
I'm just asking. I'll take your word for it. But if you can find out what's bothering her, that'd be nice. Honestly, I don't think it's the letter this time.
I'll see what I can do.
Make sure you keep yourself out of harm's way, alright?
Yeah, you too. Don't do anything reckless again.
Reckless, no. But I can't make you to promise I won't do anything.
Did you tell them about the possessed child? They need to keep their eyes out for the ghost possessing people now, too.
After seeing that, there's no way in hell I'm going to pretend there ain't a problem when there is. This is a really big one, and I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough.
He's about to argue for a moment,
Look,
but...
bro, if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, alright? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want. But please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
I have no idea if this is the look on it's the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, though, his mouth presses into a thin line and he nods.
All right. Stay safe, Zach.
We'll stay as safe as we possibly can, given our current circumstances. When he stumbles onto the sidewalk and allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole, I like to think the tiny gleam in his eyes is the closest we can get to optimism in this situation. Whether that alone will be enough to give me a peaceful sleep tonight remains to be said. I swear if Zach dies, I'm gonna freaking lose it. Night falls, and despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me. With her image still stuck in my head, flashing every few moments, it catches me off guard, and with Ma's lullaby still echoing my ears, no longer the soft tune it once was, and the terrible gnawing at the pit of my stomach, it's no wonder I can't bring myself to drift off just even for a little while. It's not as if there's a complete lack of things to do while waiting for the sleep to come, if it ever will. At the 2:45 in the morning, I find myself cleaning my photography equipment for no reason other than to just pass time. Though, if I'm going to be honest, it's not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake tonight, but the anxiety and the hope I'll hear from Ash or Bella soon. And that's what's perhaps the 42nd time, my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies. I've not heard anything from them since they left. They haven't promised to call, of course, but a small part of me wishes they would have the common sense to at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and with the concern stretching out for far longer than usual, it's impossible for the most unpleasant thoughts not to enter my mind. More, however, it doesn't help when the clock finally strikes 3. Oh, God, she's back! Oh, look at her. Oh, why are you climbing up into the corner of the ceiling? Get down from the corner of the ceiling. Get down. Get down. Get down. What are you doing? Get down from there. My hand stills. It'll be a complete and utter lie to say my heart doesn't leap straight into my throat in that brief second. My whole body is gone motionless, ears straining for any further sounds. A couple of tense seconds pass. Nothing. Of course, with how old the building I'm staying in is, the power fluctuation ain't anything new. Every now and then, this would happen, leaving a few tenants in a rather bad mood. Yeah, I'm pretty sure anyone would be in a bad mood if they had this over their shoulder. Jesus. Nothing unusual anymore after a few years of living here. But this time, the sudden hush brings with it a stillness that raised the hair in the back of my neck and set my heart beating hard against my chest. Something reeks in the air, and in an instant, this place is no longer home. It's a prison. Every rational fiber of my being screams at me to leave. I force myself to swallow and keep a clear head as I lay down all my cleaning tools and begin gathering together the rest of my things scattered about on the table. The camera's body, lenses, filter, diffuser, phone, anything my hand could reach, but in the resulting panic like in the nightmares, it is the scent that reaches me first. A foul, putrid smell filling my lungs with a heavy stink of death. Oh no! My fingers clamp tightly to the camera, holding it close to my body as if the tiny thing could provide enough protection for whatever it is with me in the room. I've heard that taking photographs can trap spirits in the photo, but you've already gotten her picture and it didn't help. It won't. But it's the only comfort I have. In knowing that whoever she is, she had once been human. Perhaps not all of it is gone. Perhaps some of it is still there.
Hello? I know you're in here. What do you want?
Something moves behind me, a soft scuttling over the walls, followed by a squelch and the painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I whirl around, my fingers and camera ready, but patiently waiting for another movement.
I can help you. Whatever it is that keeps you here, I can help.
Oh.
That's what the letter's for, ain't it? You don't have to keep taking people's lives.
I don't like this. There's a brief moment of silence, and for a short while, I think my pleas worked. Then, with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it, the sobs of a woman. Oh, God. I gotta take her picture. Oh, God, where is she? I think someone in the chat's offering me something right now, but I can't read that. Oh, God. Where's the ghost? Use the mouse to look around. Press spacebar to take a picture. I don't see anything. Oh, God. Oh, what the shit? Well, did I catch her good side fleetingly one last time, allowing me a glimpse of her grotesque, misshapen features before it once again is lost in the darkness. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. All of a sudden, her tune changes. No longer a soft cry, but a high-pitched shriek brimming with pain, grief, and anger. Every ounce of courage I've mustered fleeing from my body and the sound of next. I know, my hand is gripping on the knob. I'm wrenching the door open. Her wails follow me as I flee into the night. Just run. Just get out of there. Just go. Sleep over at Becca's house or something. Pacing has always been more of Ashton's thing than mine. When I want to think, I sit and let the minutes tick by until an idea comes to mind or my pulse settles down. And yet dried leaves and twigs crack under my shoes as I make another pass at them. Terror is too mild to describe what this is. There's no way in hell I'm going back. Whatever she is, pleading won't work. The moment we saw the letter, she's been after us.
I can't run. Not this time.
You should run. Nearly 2 hours have gone by since I left the comfort of my home for the solitude of the park. 2 excruciating hours since I've started making calls. No one's answering. Not even Rebecca, who has always kept her phone line open in case other people needed her. Or Isabella, who frequently checks hers for any messages and readily responds as soon as she can afford. It does not help that Ash hasn't said a word as to where he went off to as well.
Damn it! I knew I should have asked him before I let him leave.
Oh, we're in it now, buddy. Knowing him, he can be anywhere. But there really is only one place he'll likely be at this time. The sun has already peeked over the horizon when I make it to the mansion. I have no idea what I'm expecting to see when I got there. There's Ashton first and foremost. A part of me wishes my assumptions are correct, and he really is somewhere close by on a stakeout. But I've never been the lucky sort when it comes to that kind of guessing. And even after I've made a round of the immediate vicinity, I could find neither hide nor hair of him. Calling out to him does no good either, considering how awful the signal here is. Why did you come to the mansion? Don't do it, Zach! Zachary, why? He can't be too far if he's really here. But if he is, he would have already noticed me by now. Instead, there's only silence. The kind too quiet to find any sort of comfort in. Even the trees seem to have fallen asleep with the rest of the mansion, oblivious to what's happening around us. A small island of stillness in an otherwise fast-paced world. No wonder the whole of Anselm feels at odds with the rest of Luxburn. While the city is alive, growing every minute, every breathing second, and pulsating with life, the village remains unmoving, unchanged. It's not a surprise that the legend still lives up today. Why she's still here, walking its hollowed halls. And beyond me, the mansion looms ominously. Don't go inside. Whatever you do, don't go inside. But now ain't the time for fear. Even if Ash is not here, I've still got to let the Wrights know what I've seen, what's in their home. And whatever grievance Ash has with them doesn't matter. Oh, you're gonna get killed. There might be grounds for imprisonment, but they don't deserve a brutal death at the hands of one malicious spirit. And I'm sure Isabella wouldn't want the same thing. I head straight to the door without a second thought. It takes a few rings, the sound is loud above the foreboding stillness, before I hear footsteps on the other side.
Get it? Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour.
Oh, what the fuck?
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
Oh god, is the butler dead? Oh, this fucker. Hi, Luke. I hope the ghost had killed you by now. Before long, the door swings open with Mr. Luke Wright standing behind it. What's this behind him? Oh shit, is the ghost possessing him somehow? Is he being influenced by the spirit? Like there's this fog around him. It can't be good. Seething would be a complete understatement to describe him. Like this, I've no doubt wonder why Ash would find him a suspect.
You? How the hell did you get in here?
What do you mean in here? He's at your front door and he knocked.
What in 7 hells do you want?
Zachary, I really do think you should just leave this guy to the ghost.
It's bloody 6 in the morning.
It is 6 in the morning. Okay, as much as I hate to admit it, like, being angry that someone's waking you up at your door at 6 a.m., yeah, that's a response most people would have.
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, shit.
Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't.
Stop talking to him like that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
You're such a dick.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
Okay, well, you gave it your best try to save him. Clearly, it's not gonna happen. Just go. Just leave. Before I can get a word in, he slams the door to my face and bolts it shut with much finality.
Wait, sir, you gotta hear me out.
Zach, you gotta get the fuck out of here.
You're both in danger if you stay in there.
I don't think he's gonna listen.
Have you seen the news lately? Everything's not a coincidence.
Oh my god, Zach, just go. Only silence answers me. Maybe if it was Mrs. Wright. Oh, who am I kidding? There are limits to how far a person will believe you. Then again, I didn't believe Isabella when she warned us. And now that I'm here, desperately trying to save people, even if I'm aware it's completely out of my own capacity to do so. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is one horrible way of turning things around. Taking people's lives, playing with people's fears, making them feel useless.
You're around, ain't you? You here? Inside this house?
Oh, God.
Listening, watching, or whatever it is that you spirits do?
Oh, Zach, he's gonna call security. You need to leave. I don't want you to get in trouble.
What did they do to you? I can help you, you know? If it'll let you move on, I'll gladly do so.
I'm pretty sure she wants to kill people. Probably Luke. Let her kill Luke.
You don't have to kill anyone.
Nothing. I don't even know who I'm talking to, or if a sane person is supposed to be doing that. The only thing I've got right now is the feeling of foolishness washing over me. Or perhaps this is just me losing my mind. Out of the other options and any other ideas, I let my hand slide off to the floor surface and fall listlessly to my sides. I can go back to Luxburn, try to find the others, try to get out of this mess with them. Or let them know how much deep shit we are all in. Both sound good. Either way, my loitering here ain't helping at all. I let the quietness calm me for a few more minutes before standing up, heading out to fetch my bike. It's quite a distance from Luxburn, but if I hurry, I can reach it. I can reach it in maybe... Oh, shit. The rustling stops as soon as I turn around and strain my ears for any other movement around me.
Yo, Ash, you there?
No answer. If he is, then I just missed him earlier. Already, my feet are moving in search of him for the second time. It won't hurt to double check. Triple check, even. With how big the property is, he can be anywhere. Oh my god, you were about to leave! Just go! If things ain't so urgent, if they ain't so dire that lives are at stake, I'd probably have just waited for him to show up again.
Damn it! He needs to realize what exactly it is he's dealing with.
I think he knows it's a fucking ghost, man! That is not just a petty criminal... This is not just a petty criminal he can simply throw in jail. That it's something beyond the authority his police badge could ever give him. The guy needs to stop playing the big damn hero, sit down and chill. My breathing comes in short, shallow rasps by the time I make it back to where I started. Still no sign of him. I'm beginning to think I'm just wasting my time here. Dude, the rustling was probably a squirrel or something. But that's when I hear it. I recognize that melody in a heartbeat. Ma's favorite song. I listen for a while, trying to gauge where exactly from the house it's coming from. My feet start moving before I can stop them. Walk away! Oh my god! And there, as I circle a corner, from a room on the first floor, a single window is open, and I can't make out who's ever's inside. However, I'm sure the singing comes from there. Still, why I'll hear an old tune here of all places, I don't know. It's the fucking ghost! It's not an obscure song by all means, but it's pretty rare to find someone who knows this. And for some reason, death seems to follow this song around. Oh no. Panic lodges itself at the base of my throat at once. Who's ever humming might be, I don't want to be the pessimist now, but the off chance is that it's Mrs. Wright.
Shit.
I shouldn't just barge in there. I can put myself in danger before I can save anyone. Ash will tell me so in the exact same words, and might even write me a dissertation on why it's a bad idea if he ain't so lazy. But damn it, god damn it! Someone could be in danger. You are not going in this house! I'm not! No! No! You are not going to enter the open window! You are going... No! The ghost is in there! No! Keep looking for Ash! Buddy system! Buddy system! In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out. The half that has spent too much time around Ash. It's right, though. The reasonable part. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant, how am I going to fight back? With a camera? No matter where you look at it, that's simply asking for a painful death.
I have a better chance if I find Ash. What is he snooping about?
I don't think he's here! You need to leave! Go! Get away from this mansion! Get away from the haunted mansion! Perhaps I should try the forest, make a round farther into the gardens. Not a sound plan, but it's better than nothing. The woman's soft sobs have subsided now by some means, almost inaudible to the point where I'm wondering if I truly heard what I heard. I don't get to dwell on it much, though, because right in that moment, my phone rings. The sharp notes cut piercing through the thick quiet. I clamp a hand over it, pressing the button before the speakers are close to my ear.
Are you?
Oh, God. I only caught the tail end of the person's greeting on the other end, but I know the voice well enough.
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now.
Oh, shit.
What kind of shithole did you get into?
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you.
He's not at the mansion! Why would he be at the mansion?
I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
What? What?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even... No, wait. Just get your ass here at Isabella's place and hurry.
Yeah, get out! Leave! Run! I shift my gaze to the mansion, specifically at the window I heard the cries from. There's nothing of it now, not even echoes.
How urgent is this?
You need to get away from the mansion! Oh my God!
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here.
Get out of here!
Please, Zach.
That gives me a pause. It's a rare thing for him to take on that tone.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. Without another look, I leave the mansion along with its haunting melodies and grim echoes behind. There are more important things than my own curiosity and impulses. Okay. Oh. Okay. We made it out alive. Zach is still okay. That's important. At least Zach is... Is that Weiss and Ruby from... Is that Weiss and Ruby on the wall? Is that supposed to be a reference to Weiss and Ruby? Is she a Winter Rose shipper? Like... No, wait, it's not... What's their ship name again? I don't remember. I don't know, I was always leaning more towards Bumblebee. Well, we finished up with Zach's chapter. Looks like next will be Marion's. But thanks everyone for watching with me. But for now, show's over.